Hi, and welcome to the Ellis Talker Show. This DV LeBron. I have a very special guest with me for our Christmas edition of the Ellis Talker. I have Mr. Rick Ridgeway. Mr. Rick Ridgeway is currently running for Precinct 4, which encompasses most of Midlothian, for county commissioner. How are you doing, Mr. Ridgeway?
Hey there, DV. How's it going, my friend? Nice
Doing
of you to have me on. Certainly is very much appreciated.
I appreciate you coming on, even though I was second best to my friends over at Cement City Chatter or
they let
Cement
they
City
let you know that.
Podcast. Yeah, they made sure to let me know they scored the interview first. They did a great interview with you, and I would tell anybody go ahead and check it out.
Uh,
I wanted to, and I've told everybody, if you've seen the new census that came out, there's a bunch of new people. Now, I don't know if you've been here a long time, but there's a bunch of new people, and maybe you could introduce yourself to them.
Absolutely appreciate it, DV. My wife and I moved here in 1998 from DeSoto. This is our old stomping grounds anyway. We've had lots of family and everybody out here, but we moved here in 98. So we've been here for 23 years, married 37 years to my wife, Karen. Raised two daughters, I don't mess that up, 34 and 31, two great son in laws, four grandkids. So we've been out in the county quite some time. And this one of the things I enjoy doing is promoting the county and the people and the businesses. I've done that for almost every time since I've been here, is from my past, and will continue to do so if I'm fortunate enough to be elected.
Well, it sounds you have a family roots, and you didn't get the ages wrong, so that's a good thing. You never want to get the ages wrong on the kids. So you know one of the things about serving is you put yourself out there for people to scrutinize your every move and scrutinize everything that you say, do, or think. So let's go into it. Why do you want to run for county commissioner?
Well, as as we got going along, as far as I believe that the conservative voters of Ellis County should have a representative that is consistently incongruent with or in line with their values consistently. That does take and participate in the county. And if you're an elected official, as far as the county commissioner's role, initially was asked by a prominent member or a prominent citizen, I should say, then several more. And as I started considering it, I thought that it was time for me to offer my services to the county, and or to, at least to the voters, to give an opportunity to see if they'd have a choice that they would want. Um, and that's kind of where we ended up. It was not really anything that was pre-planned, but I've always been involved in our Ellis County politics as far as the party goes. Precinct 146 chairman, uh, been a delegate to the county conventions, uh, always attending our meetings, doing fundraisers. I've recruited candidates, so I've been kind of back behind the scenes, and I network people together and trying to help them get their agenda along. Well, as we move past and as circumstances change, I thought it was time for me to step up. Let's put it that way.
Put
So
yourself through the gauntlet, huh?
yeah, oh
Well,
yeah,
I commend that, and I've told every guest that's ever came on there that I commend that, because that's a high calling to want to help and do that. It's not like you're getting. I mean, last time I checked, Ellis County is not going to cut you a check for $1 million for doing this. So it's volunteering. It's volunteering. My daughter was saying today, she's like, they don't get paid, and I was like, no, they just do it for fun. They tend to, they take that abuse for fun. So I appreciate the people that run for office a lot. So I want to get into fundamentals, because no matter what we talk about, it doesn't matter if your fundamentals aren't solid. So first, what is the role of government in the lives of the citizen? And you could even bring that down to the county citizen.
no, I think on the county level that the really the commissioner's court which includes the county judge and the board of commissioners, is the governing body of the county. It's there to make the budget decisions. It's there to have just almost every administrative item that you could think of. And that does include roads and bridges, yes, but it's mainly the governing body of the county. And so as far as its role in there, I think it needs to be as limited as possible to interfere with anybody's in anybody's daily life, and especially when it runs into the what would say inalienable rights. If that interferes at any point in time, I think that authority has gone too far, and we've witnessed that over the last couple of years. And not necessarily as much here, but it has happened here, and it's certainly around the country, and we still see it happening right now. And I think that until we have some type of, I guess, I don't know how I would describe it other than
Yeah, you believe in limited government and
as limited as much as possible, lowest tax rate as possible, make things function, and yes, take care of the citizens' interests, but protect their interests personally and their individual liberties and rights.
Okay, so what does the First Amendment mean to you?
Well, it's pretty much as we went on. I mean, it's you have to protect any freedom of speech and everything that goes with it. It's all encompassing to me that leads up into our the rest of our rights that you have.
I mean, something like the Second Amendment. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, I don't know what's your favorite weapon, if you'd like to say.
Well, as far as I don't really have a favorite weapon, last one I had a 223 that I sold off. It was a pretty nice one, but we've got a few, somewhere around. We've got a lot of my family, and kind of like the 223 out there, especially for pig hunting. And but as far as defense, I let my family kind of have a pretty good nephew that takes care of me on some things. But as far as my 3 words encompass what I believe in the Second Amendment: shall not be infringed. Period. That's 4. But
and hey, you know what? That's perfect, because it's concise, and that's what you want to be when it comes to the rights. You want to be concise, and so now that I kind of covered some of those fundamentals, we're gonna go into obviously COVID hit, and I had talked with Todd Little about COVID and how he saw it and how it went, and I've gotten to talk to different people who were running stuff around here and what they had to deal with. So, and now we have this Omicron, whatever, they'll come up with a new name soon. Yeah. We have Omicron, and so if you were elected to be a county supervisor, would you vote for mask mandates, for lockdowns, for any kind of restriction coming from the county?
No, and I've argued in front of the commissioner's court to that contrary. When they first came out with it, the debate on whether we go with the stay home, stay safe order, I was there, testified against it. And again, inalienable rights, I believe that they were working off of poor modeling, which we were proven correct, and that was back from the first. I have some very, very good sources, that I was utilized. I testified before commissioner's court on that, and we still lost, and I was there every commissioner's court thereafter up until, I guess, that I would say probably through April or May, and basically making arguments that we need to open up the county. This is something that should have been done. As I told them, I didn't elect the health administrator to be my representative. And later on down the road, had elected officials come up and tell me, Rick, you were right. And the people around me, it wasn't just me. There was a number of people. When we applied the pressure as much as we could, which basically made the arguments. And I think later on it may have made a difference. We opened up, and I think our county has flourished because of it. And is it a tough decision? Yeah, I don't think that it will take anything lightly about it, but I believe in what my resources were. And again, when it comes down to any type of government authority in this, we have not ever done this in the past as far as taking a step like this, a disaster of a pandemic. And I don't know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
something that I don't think that we were going to run away from it. We still hadn't ran away from it. We still have the news media that wants to cram down your throat that this Omicron, and already know it's not a variable that's going to be anything that should be concerned as far as a life threatening or taking more, fatality tables or rates up. It's just another way of trying to me to people interfering as much as possible in other people's lives.
So you
And
won't be voting for a mask mandate.
no,
Excellent. Excellent. Well, the other thing is that Ellis County is growing. As I mentioned in the beginning, the census said we added a bunch of people, and I'm sorry I don't have the actual numbers, folks, but you've heard them. There's a lot of new people here.
officially, I think we're at like 192.
That's
But
a lot of people.
yeah, and I'll be honest, I think there's more than that.
Yeah.
I think that was during the census. That's what we ended up with was, I believe, 192. But I got to believe we're right on that crest of 200. All you have to do is drive down to 287,
Or to
77.
77. So
there are 200,000 cars right there.
So growth is everywhere, and people commonly online, I see how people, um, some people complain very heavily about all the growth that's going on, and that things are expanding and change is inevitable. I understand that. Some people may not, but for the most part, people understand change is inevitable. But how things are being done, and while the county doesn't have a big role like the city government, you do have a role in how the county grows. So, what are your thoughts on that? What are some of the things you'd like to see?
As far as in the growth, I think
Yeah.
we have to make sure that the infrastructure and some type of I guess reasonable growth as far as I would say standards. I mean, we have to have minimum standards, and some of the things that have happened in the county since I guess 2019, whenever we were able to stop forced annexation of cities that they couldn't gobble up people's properties. Well, now you have a kind of a situation where other developers and stuff could be coming in and either voluntarily annexing, getting annexed, which really is probably the more beneficial, or we've been fighting municipal utility districts has become a big issue to where some developers can basically come in with a plan and get their engineers turn it in and goes to TCEQ and they end up making a utility district out of it and kind of a city within the county and that's not annexed. But as far as I think you have to have those standards. We have to be able to address for the infrastructure and the resources that we have. I mean, and as long as we're able to at least address all the infrastructure and resources, yes. I mean, growth is inevitable, but how we handle the growth, it's just like everything else. You have to do it the correct way, and by the correct way, that means basically taking the time and effort to make sure that we have for extended time periods of 20, 30, 40 years, what's it going to look like, as opposed to, hey, let's get this done right now, that and then face the consequences of something down the road that the citizens are going to have to pay for, which always happens.
Do you favor tax breaks for companies that are coming? Like, for instance, Google came and brought their server networks and some other stuff over here. Do you favor tax breaks in that? Like, there was one for the theater as well.
Well, the tax, I think you're speaking directly to tax abatements.
Abatements. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was down at Commissioner's Court arguing against that when Google came in. The abatements. Now they did have a very sweeten it up with, I believe it was $7 million for the school systems. But at the same point, from the Texas Public Policy Foundations, the studies that they have put in, most of these people that and companies that are looking for abatements, they would probably end up coming into the county anyway. And it, depending on what they were, I know Midlothian had one that came in that actually had kind of a tiered setup in an area that was not having any taxes collected, wasn't going to be anything with it, and they actually had what I thought made sense. Now we don't see that a whole lot, but as far as yeah, I argue that tax abatement to me is picking winners and losers. If you own a business in this county, chances are you didn't get an abatement when you came in. You're paying the taxes, so to me, it's picking winners and losers, and that needs to be addressed on the legislative end at the state government. And the argument goes like this: well, if we don't do it here, somebody else is going to do it. But as we've seen a lot of these places that come in, they'll pick up in 5 or 6 years, maybe go get a better abatement somewhere else.
Right.
You know, Google came in Midlothian and then came in Red Oak. And yeah, I argued against it, and I do believe that unless it's structured correctly, I don't think we have to have any type of abatements out right now. As you've seen the growth out here, there's no reason for an abatement to even happen at this point in time with the situation where we're at.
Okay. That definitely is one of those hot button issues, comes and goes, comes and goes. Anytime it comes to taxes, because people people feel this, they feel that, and right now you got inflation, but they also feel those taxes on their property, and transitioning to that. I know that the county is the small part of the taxes compared to the city and the schools. I know that they're the smaller part of it, but also it doesn't exclude on how you run your budget. How you run the county, and you know do you be fiscally conservative? So what the budget process that happened in this last year, what would be some of the things that you'd like to see done different going forward?
Well, I think to make a really more intelligent answer to that question, I'd have to have a little more information than what I have. I mean, I'm
I'm
very,
sorry.
no, that's all right. No, I mean, I am, let's say, literate in the process, but I mean, I don't have all the education. I certainly went over the budget when they did, but as far as looking to utilize, I think you, we run off of a budget, a about we have to have a budget that's it's not a zero based budget, which means that you would take and start from nothing. So you basically have a baseline budget, which means you're adding as you go, but you have to have the funds to pay for that. But you have a no new, what's it? The no new, whenever we pass the
Revenue.
tax, yeah, the no new revenue as far as that tax rate. So in other words, if you have your values go up on the county end of it, theoretically, your rates are going to come down. Now we haven't been in a situation yet where the appraisals go down. Is that going to new net revenue? I believe is how it was
Mm-hmm.
termed there. So I mean, there are some new changes in there, and yeah, I'd certainly like to take a look and see where improvements made. But to sit on the outside and say, hey, this is what can be done better. I do know that it looked to me that as far as you look over the budget, you can go online and look at it, what they did. You know, it's nothing that just comes in and glaring at me is like, hey, y'all, they didn't take the time to assess or put things together correctly or anything like that. So nothing jumps off the page at me that you know that that
But you like
really.
to take you definitely like to look at it and kind of see
Well, I think
if
you
there's
have to.
anything.
I mean, to me, that's the function of the position.
Yeah.
You have four commissioners. They're running their own four sets of budgets. I mean, all
Mhm.
of them have what they have to do, and they're four separate entities for each precinct.
Right.
So now,
No,
how each one is taken care of, yeah, that's where you have to get inside and see what's going on internally. And at this point, I haven't heard any complaints one way or the other as far as this, even my precinct or anybody's precinct out there, we don't see the county tax rate, and you're thoroughly correct as far as, the schools, the school tax rate is the one. I think it takes up about, I think it's like 40%. And that's where, the focus should be. Now, as far as the appraisal goes, I think, the appraisal district, I went up, I've argued that I think the appraiser should be an elected position as opposed to an appointed position. I believe that shows the accountability to citizens, and where I don't believe they should have an autonomous role. I think they should have to answer to the citizens, and that appraiser comes in, and I think, just as I argued in front of Commissioner's Court on that, hey, each one of you guys, y'all are all elected. Why do we have an appraiser that, why is he not or she not?
Right. Since you brought that subject up, I had Mr. Rozier on in the previous interview, and he was talking. I asked him about the audit, the recent audit of the Ellis County tax assessor's office, and there was discrepancies, and there was monies that didn't go to where they were supposed to. There's some money that ended up in the pockets of people, and they ended up indicted. There was money stolen. That was a tough one to swallow, but he went on and talked about some of the things that he's doing, or has been doing since he got there. What are your thoughts on that overall? And is there an idea that you'd like to add to that?
Well, I think that would be really within the scope of what the tax assessor collector, again, with the auditors, come up with. And as far as that goes, I don't know that the commissioners would have. Obviously, they have a role as far as oversight, I guess, as far as some right, as far as making sure that that doesn't happen again. It's got to be the utmost priority. And from everything that I've seen, I believe Richard has done a very credible job whenever he's taken over. I think I told him the day that he was appointed. I said, "I think good luck. I think you're going to need it," from what I hear, and I know he's had that sentiment ever since. That it was a very difficult situation. And, people can go online and look at the commissioner's court during. I guess it was. Can't remember the date, but it's online as far as that presentation. It is kind of, I mean, can't just come out and state in 2 or 3 sentences. It's something that happened over the course of decades. Mm-hmm. And as a private citizen, you go, "Are you kidding me?" Mm-hmm. I mean, how does that happen? But I guess if you have ingrained corruption and less oversight, which
and it'll happen. Complacency may be
complacency.
Yeah, complacency, and sometimes and I don't cast aspersions. I don't know the intent. I know obviously the intent of the people who took the money was something, but I those things happen from complacency. So it's the people's money, and it must be well
accounted
for and well protected.
So
one of the essential functions of government, obviously, since we've been talking about how to pay for it and its growth, is policing. Brad Norman's got a sheriff's department there, belongs to the county, and he's got a jail there, belongs to the county. Mm-hmm. And, I'd like to know your thoughts. I mean, will you ever see Rick Ridgeway, voting to defund the police?
Oh, God, no. I mean, I think that's a very valid question as far as to me, the sheriff's department now has such a more valuable role than even before. And again, it goes back to Tier 2. Whenever Ellis County became the Tier 2 county, well, now the focus actually becomes a lot of resources have to be used in the county as opposed to the city. It's because cities are gobbling up ETJ or the extraterritorial jurisdictions. They're not gobbling those up like they used to expand their tax base because they can't. So the people that are coming into the county, they need more of those resources. And I think Brad Norman's done an outstanding job in this county, and he's been open to the citizens, and with some of the things that he's done, especially making it transparent with the on his social media as to what they're doing, and basically putting a focus on some of the people and his new hires, and make it again more transparent, and making it more approachable for citizens to have trust and faith in the sheriff's department. At this point in time, I'm very happy that that we have this sheriff's department in the county, and I think it's you know the most vital role that we have, second down. I mean, and the sheriff is for the security and the commissioner's court and that courthouse. Uh, I can't say
So
enough
they definitely
superlative
have your support.
on 110%. That those guys have been fantastic, and they've been led by with Brad. I can't say enough superlatives about
I,
Brad Norman and what he's done.
I hope to have Brad on. I've been talking with him, folks, and hope to have him on. And I wanted to talk with him about some of the things, maybe going on, because I've heard of, there's been a lot of posting about the different crimes that have been happening in the area. So I wanted to talk to him about that. But hopefully I'll have him on soon.
I hope so.
Yeah, and talk about that. But so recently there was a redistricting that happened, and obviously the redistricting caused some strife, and there was some issues with that. Redistricting is never free of controversy,
No.
but this particular one really riled people up. Would you like to speak on that?
And we'll go over some general details. We
Mhm.
redistrict every 10 years according to the census. And and I'm speaking right now on the commissioner's end, because there's different maps for the constables and justice of the peace positions. But on the commissioner's end, just like we have redistricting statewide as far as a redistrict voting precincts. Well, in the county, we have that with our 4 voting precincts that on the commissioner side. And what you try to do is try to have the least deviation as possible from the previous map, and you try to have a one man, one vote situation. Well, obviously, you do have population growths in one area that may strip to another, and one precinct may have a whole lot more than another. In this particular instance, we didn't have that much, and we had a situation where one map was presented that only had about 5.5% deviation, and but from that point, we had a commissioner that wanted to go ahead and take move it up to about 9.8% because of the situation where it redrew a person out that we believe that because of the thought that he was going to have a political opponent, and we thought that that was not in the best interest of the county, and still don't. I think that that's a situation that people, at least in fairness and what you do, I just don't see how from 10 years down the road, even the thought of that happening, of what we're going to have to deal with. Well, we know that we're going to have a whole lot more deviation coming up after 10 years with what happens from that. And I believe that it was not a situation, again, conducive to the citizens, at least to have an opportunity, and for what seemed to be a politically motivated move. And that's what happened, at least there. I hope that's clear enough. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's fine. As we start wrapping up, I wanted to ask, why you and why not the current incumbent?
Well, as far as myself, again, because I believe, as far as I would be a choice for the conservative voters in our precinct, I have a track record of participating in this county and our county party that goes back quite some time, and again, in advocating for citizens and advocating for those rights. And I believe that we have a few philosophical differences with the incumbent, and I hope that the voters can see it. I'm not going to come on and bash a man, which
Well,
so.
I appreciate that, because politics gets really ugly, and there's nothing worse than seeing that on the local level. These people are, their neighbors, We're
Yeah,
neighbors.
well,
So
and that's one of the
it's
things. I mean, I still talk to our current county commissioner, and I have at least on my end, it's amicable.
mhm,
We speak. He's very well liked,
mhm.
and in the end, to me, I do believe we're now. I think as a neighbor, you know, you have to be held
Right.
accountable for your votes and accountable for your actions, and sometimes we're going to have differences.
Yeah.
And I believe that some of the philosophies that we have in how to uh, in that
Mhm.
has shown over the years, and I believe that my track record of what I have done and advocated for, and many times, and you can ask the herd incumbent if I'm down there at Commissioner's Court taking off work on my dime to go do it, or not have it during COVID because of that, and you know you have to. I think as far as it goes, I
Yeah.
believe that conservative voters deserve a candidate that's going to have that, consistent,
So
steady,
this
accountable.
is I'm sorry to interrupt, but
You,
this is the point where I'm going to give you the mic. You get to talk to the people directly of Ellis County. This is where you give them your pitch. So the mic is yours, sir.
I appreciate you having me on, DB. I think
No
really I'll
problem.
be pretty succinct in this, and a lot of times I can talk quite a bit, but I would just ask people to compare track records, do some research, compare track records, look for what I've done, talk to your neighbors, and and see what where that leads you. I know as far as myself, I entered the Republican Party down here and have made a difference in what I do, and I still plan to do that. And I hope people will do their research and go over the issues and understand that a commissioner has the entire governing body control over what you're going. They're going to control your daily lives and some of the decisions they make. And uh, I hope that they'll do the research and take a look for myself and I'm humbly ask for your vote if you're in my precinct. And certainly, know,
Yeah.
that's basically about it, DB.
Well, you know what? I appreciate that. And you're right. All politics are local. You know, your bill raising, your mortgage going up, that's the school board, that's the city. That isn't some congressman somewhere else. That comes out of another pot. But these decisions on your local government are really important. And this is where I'm going to give myself a little plug. This year I have, you guys have been so cool. The show is really growing. I've gotten, a lot of people watching and getting on. And I want you to know that I appreciate that very much. It means a lot. The DFW stations, they're not covering Ellis County. They're not talking to candidates here. And since these are the people that are going to have they make consequential decisions in your lives, don't you want to know them, what they think, what they have to say, why they want to run? That's where places like me and Cement City Podcast come in. We're local guys. We bought some equipment and we're just trying to make it. And this stuff is expensive. This takes time. But you know what? It's worth it. We love our county. We love the people in here, and we want so much for you guys to know who you're voting for when you walk into the booth, because these guys are making decisions on your lives. Mr. Ridgeway, I really, really appreciate you coming on. I mean, I plan on having your opponent. To be fair, he will be coming on at some point. I'm going to talk with him, and I hope you have a great Christmas, sir. And I thank you for coming on again.
Well,
Can you stand by after I close?
absolutely. And let me just say what you've done. I'll take back the mic for 1 second.
That's fine.
You've been outstanding in what you do for this community. And again, the people that don't know you and the service you provide for the community and your service as a veteran, certainly thank you for that. I think you're outstanding for this community and serve an incredible value to everyone. And I certainly appreciate you having me on. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you, man. That means a lot.
Certainly.
You have a happy Christmas and even better New Year to all of you. And thank you for watching Yellow Talker.
Merry Christmas.